Imagine standing entirely alone, exactly 12 yards away from a giant net, while millions of people around the world stare directly at you. Your heart is pounding so loudly you can hear it in your ears. One single kick of a ball will either make you a national hero or the most hated person in your country. Welcome to the terrifying reality of a soccer penalty kick. This isn't just a simple shot at a goal. It is the ultimate psychological warfare in modern sports. Over the next few minutes, we are breaking down the hidden science, the secret mind games, and the crazy math behind what actually happens during a penalty kick. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how goalkeepers read minds, why the best players in the world completely choke, and how a tiny 12-yard line dictates the entire fate of the FIFA World Cup. To understand why this is so dramatic, we have to look at the setup. Imagine a soccer goal. It is huge. It is 24 feet wide and 8 feet tall. That is roughly the size of a standard double garage door. Now, imagine one goalkeeper trying to guard that entire space. It seems impossible. If you place a ball just 12 yards away, a professional player can kick it at over 70 miles per hour. At that speed, the ball takes less than an hour-long blink of an eye, roughly 400 milliseconds, to cross the line. This creates a fascinating mathematical problem. Human reaction time is about 200 milliseconds. For a goalkeeper to see the ball, process where it is going, and physically dive to stop it takes more time than the ball actually needs to reach the net. Mathematically, the goalkeeper should never save a well-placed shot. It is a guaranteed goal. Yet, they save them all the time. Why? Because goalkeepers do not react to the ball. They have to guess before the ball is even kicked. This is where the real game begins. It is an intense, high-stakes game of rock, paper, scissors played at lightning speed. Because the keeper cannot wait to see the shot, they spend days studying the penalty taker's previous matches. They look at body language, hip angles, and even the direction of the player's eyes. If a player opens their hips wide during the run-up, the ball is almost always going to the natural side. If they straighten their body, they are likely blasting it to the opposite corner. But the shooters know this too. Elite penalty takers will intentionally manipulate their body language to feed the goalkeeper false data. They will look intensely at the left corner during their run-up, forcing the keeper's brain to register a pattern, only to snap their ankle at the absolute last microsecond and roll the ball into the right corner. It is a massive game of bluffing where the first person to show fear loses. Let's talk about the run-up because it is a masterclass in psychology. Have you ever noticed how some players take a massive 20-step run-up while others only take 3 steps? This isn't random. A longer run-up builds kinetic power, making the shot incredibly fast, but much harder to aim accurately. A shorter run-up prioritizes surgical precision over raw power. Statistically, players who take longer than 5 seconds to start their run-up after the referee blows the whistle score at a significantly higher rate than those who rush. Why? Because anxiety makes us want to get stressful situations over with as fast as possible. When a referee blows the whistle, a panicked player will run instantly just to stop the agonizing wait. The goalkeeper sees this rush and instantly knows the shooter is terrified. The calmest players will stand completely still, take a deep breath, reset their heart rate, and force the goalkeeper to endure the agonizing silence. Then you have the infamous stutter step. This is where a player runs toward the ball, stops entirely for a split second to make the goalkeeper dive early, and then taps the ball into the open net. It looks like cheating, and for a long time, the rules had to keep changing to manage it. Currently, you are allowed to slow down or stutter during your approach, but you cannot completely stop your forward motion once the run-up is complete. If you stop dead right at the ball, the referee will stop the game, give you a yellow penalty card, and cancel your goal. Now, let's look at the goalkeeper's side of the battle. Since the odds are heavily stacked against them, goalkeepers use heavy psychological manipulation to even the playing field. Have you ever seen a keeper walk up to the shooter and try to hand them the ball, or start kicking the dirt right on the penalty spot? They aren't just being annoying. They are actively trying to disrupt the shooter's routine. In sports science, this is called introducing cognitive load. A penalty taker has a specific mental script they run through to execute a perfect shot. By walking into their physical space, talking to them, or scuffing up the grass, the goalkeeper forces the shooter's brain to process new, frustrating information. That tiny distraction breaks their focus. A broken focus at 70 miles per hour means the ball flies over the crossbar and into the stands. If the referee forces the goalkeeper to stay on their line, the mind games simply move to the body. Keepers will stand slightly to the left of the center spot, leaving a visibly larger gap on the right side. It looks like a mistake, but it is a psychological trap. The keeper is baiting the shooter into aiming for the open side, having already decided to dive furiously in that exact direction. They also use visual illusions. Famous sports studies show that when a goalkeeper stands with their arms completely stretched out and waves them frantically, they appear larger to the shooter's subconscious mind. The wider the keeper looks, the smaller the goal appears. This subtle shift causes shooters to aim too close to the posts, frequently hitting the metal structure or missing the entire stadium framework. But what happens when a player decides to completely disregard the corners? This brings us to the single most arrogant, high-risk move in all of sports: the Panenka. Named after Antonin Panenka, who invented it in 1976 to win a massive European championship, this trick involves running up with immense power, feigning a massive blast to a corner, and instead softly chipping the ball directly down the dead center of the goal. It works because almost every goalkeeper will dive left or right to give themselves a chance at a save. If the keeper dives, they leave the center completely empty, and the ball floats beautifully into the net like a feather. It looks brilliant if it works. But if the goalkeeper reads the trick and simply stands still, the ball floats directly into their hands like a gentle pass. It is the ultimate public humiliation for a shooter. If you miss a Panenka, your career recovery can take years. To understand the intense pressure, we have to talk about how a penalty shootout actually happens at the end of a tied playoff game. If two teams are tied after 120 minutes of intense running, the game goes to a shootout. 5 players from each team take turns. If they are still tied after 5 shots each, it goes to sudden death. One miss means you go home. Statistically, the team that kicks first in a shootout wins roughly 60% of the time. This happens because kicking second creates an immense, compounding psychological burden. If the first team scores, the second team is always kicking under the massive pressure of survival. If they miss, they are instantly losing. The human brain does not handle trailing well under extreme stress, causing late shooters to fail at a drastically higher rate. There is also a fascinating biological element called emotional contagion. Studies analyzing decades of World Cup shootouts found that if a player scores and celebrates wildly with a massive physical gesture, like pumping their fists or sliding on their knees, their team is statistically much more likely to win the shootout. The intense, visible confidence lifts the morale of the remaining teammates while actively draining the confidence of the opposing goalkeeper. A penalty shootout is an infectious mental virus. Even the color of a jersey changes the math. Sports data shows that goalkeepers wearing bright red or neon green jerseys save more penalties than those wearing black or blue. Bright colors draw the human eye naturally. When a shooter is stressed and looking up quickly, their brain automatically registers the bright color, causing them to subconsciously aim closer to the goalkeeper's physical body. So, what have we actually learned today? A penalty kick looks like a simple test of physical skill, but it is actually a deeply complex layer of human psychology, visual illusions, and advanced probability. It is a moment where tactical preparation meets absolute raw human emotion. The next time you watch a penalty kick during a massive tournament, look closely at the steps, the eyes, and the micro movements. You aren't just watching a sport, you are watching an intense psychological thriller unfold in less than a second. If you loved this deep dive into the hidden world of soccer, hit that subscribe button right now for more simple, beginner-friendly breakdowns of the world's greatest game. See you in the next video.